Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. The Outdoor Adventure Series celebrates individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote the exploration, stewardship, conservation, access, and enjoyment of the outdoors. Our guest today is Bernie Verwiel. Bernie is the Senior Manager, Partner Relations at Covac Global. His responsibilities include creating partnerships with travel agencies, tour operators, and companies to add Covac Global services to their travel assistance portfolios. Bernie, it's a pleasure to have you on the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast.
Howard, it is a pleasure to be here and to be talking with you and your audience.
Fantastic. And for our audience, in this whole spirit of disclosure, Bernie is a friend of mine. I know him from my days back in Chicago through some of the coaching work that I do. Bernie is also, and hopefully he'll tell us a little bit about this, share some of his stories. He leads visitors to Chicago on tours of the city. And we were just kind of exchanging some information lately about what are we up to. And Bernie was sharing more about Covac Global. And since this is the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast, I thought, well, let's have Bernie on the show so we can share a little bit about Covac Global. Before we do that, Bernie, I'm going to let you start talking in just a minute.
Sounds good.
Tell us a little bit about your background, and because some of the work that you've been doing that has led up to you being at Covac Global, and what value you're adding as responsibility for partner relations. What's that all mean?
Yeah, well, sure, Howard. Well, first and foremost, I am very happily married and live on the north side of Chicago. I live in the Lincoln Park neighborhood with my family. And I've been a sales and marketing professional through my career, first starting out selling media, selling television, and that evolved into selling digital advertising and marketing. And then that led to having my own agency for a time. And I think that's where you helped to counsel me several times on that, Howard. And thank you for your sage advice. And then that led me to do more in the area of doing event planning, meeting planning, which gave me some exposure to travel managers, to meeting and events managers. And when I was looking for a new opportunity, because in the pandemic, that industry really slowed down quite a bit.
Sure.
Yeah. And I enjoyed being in the events and travel space. So I found this opportunity through a mutual friend at Covac Global that they were expanding. They were really on the move. This is going back to 2021. I love the mission that they had to help travelers that got jammed up while they were out of country. And I came on board, and it's a great company. We got a great service. And so that's kind of what led me down to where I'm at now with Covac Global.
Fantastic. Now, for our listeners, and you're going to see if you visit the YouTube channel for Outdoor Adventure Series, we're going to have about a 7 to 10 minute introduction of this episode there. You're going to see this beautiful, sleek jet behind Bernie. It's his banner photo for the Zoom call that we're on. Can you share a little bit about what is Covac Global? How did they start off? And you'd also mentioned COVID and just the nature of the work now, where people are beginning to travel across the globe. And with that travel comes a little bit of uncertainty. And as you and I are chatting, I have the Covac Global website, and you have this, I don't know what they call it, it's like the streaming banner on the website about there's something in Ukraine, Malawi, incidents in the United States. And I'm thinking, there's still a lot of worry out there and uncertainty. So tell us a little bit more about Covac Global and the range of services that they provide, and then more specifically, the travel aspects to it.
Sure. So what we provide are for travelers with peace of mind while they're out of country, while they're traveling. So whether you get sick or injured, if there's a pandemic with COVID-19, if there's a security issue, what we're really trying to provide is an umbrella of service to get you back home safely. So we really got started in 2020. Okay. So our founder and CEO is Ross Thompson. And you can find out more information about Ross as well as our entire team. If you go to the website, like how you mentioned, and then you just go to the About Us and you'll see a drop down on the team. And it really got started in 2020. Ross comes from a security and medical evacuation background. He was working with companies and with different families for these types of services. His office was in Mexico City,
Mm.
and he just recognized that there was nothing in the marketplace that was assisting travelers that contracted COVID. Okay. So he started researching it. Things kind of slowed down, as we know, in 2020. There wasn't a lot of travel going on. So he used that time to put together his company, Covac Global. Things really started to pick up in 2021. And because of what Ross did was with his network and his knowledge of evacuations, he recognized in the US, as long as you follow those CDC guidelines, which means pertaining to COVID, that as long as you are able to transport a person in a private air ambulance, because let's remember, COVID-19 is highly infectious. So you
Mhm.
can't fly on a commercial flight once you've tested positive. And as long as you are under the direction of a flight medic, you can be repatriated back to the US. And he followed those guidelines to the T. And we started doing our evacuations when travel's begun again, late 2020, early 2021. Things really started to move with the company, especially when the Delta variant hit the early summer of 2021. And then again, the Omicron that hits in early, or I should say late fall of 2021. So that's when we really saw our business pick up, and especially with our COVID-19 evacuations. And what Ross also added on to our services was medical evacuation. Because of what again, taking advantage of some of the new technology that's available, especially in regards to logistics. Because a way that I help to explain it, Howard, is that we're kind of like Uber. We're kind of like the black car service for Uber. And what I mean by that is that we don't own any of our air ambulance assets or our evacuation assets. We have strategic partnerships all over the world. Okay. And several in Europe and Africa, Asia, although we haven't been too busy in Asia yet because we haven't returned to normal travel there, South America. So what we do is we help coordinate these evacuations between our member and our medical evacuation partner, that team, and with our member, being in constant communication with them, letting them know when either their ground transportation to get them to the airport is going to be arriving. So we help really to coordinate the logistics for these evacuations and staying in constant contact with the member, okay, or our logistic or our evacuation partner.
Okay. And a couple questions are coming to mind. This service, it is from the point of, let's just say the client or the let's say the patient. That's probably a better way to put it. When the patient, the individual, it's going to get evacuated. The service you provide starts, let's say, from doesn't have to be the hospital, because I know some services require you to be hospitalized. It can start from a home, Airbnb, or a hotel. The logistics and the travel and all the arrangements start there. They get am I correct in
Yes.
that? It's not just show up at the airport or we'll pick you up at the hospital.
Yeah, 100%. Now, something to keep in mind is we are more flexible with our evacuations, and that's key to note because we're not insurance. Okay, we are a membership program, and we offer single trip coverage or annual travel coverage. Now, all of our memberships are reinsured. Okay, so
Mhm.
they're all reinsured up to $1 million for
Mhm.
an evacuation. But what our flexibility allows us is that every evacuation is different. No two evacuations are exactly the same as far as somebody that might be injured or ill. So
Mhm.
we are operating under more flexibility. And to your point, regardless of where your lodging is, if you're staying at a villa in Italy, or if you're at a hotel in Paris, or if you're in Calgary and at the resort skiing, we have the flexibility to take you directly to the airport. We don't require hospitalization as part of your evacuation, where others in the marketplace do require hospitalization first. And then once you've been stabilized, then they will initiate the evacuation back home. So like, we don't require that. And how we're able to do that is through communication. Now, the member or a party to that member, somebody that's traveling, can talk directly with our medical evacuation team to determine if it's more advantageous to get our member directly to the airport. Now, let's just say, as long as it's not life-threatening, and again, this is all coming from conversations with our member or their proxy. So what it means is, let's just say that you break your leg, you break your arm, your hand, you do need medical treatment. Okay, right? I mean, that's a lot of pain, but it's not life-threatening. Now, what we will help coordinate and what we will provide is to help with getting you some pain remediation. So let's get you to an urgent care clinic or some type of clinic that can help you with that pain relief. We're going to dispatch a medical escort, okay, that is going to be part of the team, the evacuation team. Then and that medical escort is either going to meet you at your lodging or they could just meet you directly at the airport for your transport back home. Now, what we would do in that situation is we would contact one of our airline pilots. So this would be a commercial flight to put you on with our medical escort to fly you back to your home airport. Then once we get you back to your home airport, we will arrange the appropriate ground transportation. Most likely it'll be an ambulance to take you to your home hospital for treatment. Okay. Now, one of the things that's important to understand is we're also going to be coordinating admission to your home hospital. So we're going to be notifying if you have a doctor that you want to see, that you want to be part of the treatment. We'll make sure that they're contacted and waiting for you, because we do need to make sure the injury or illness does have to be serious enough for you to be admitted right to your home hospital. It can't be something minor, but obviously a broken hand, a broken leg, that's going to get you admitted to your home hospital after you receive that treatment. And it could be less than 24 hours, depending on what it is. Then you're released. But that's how we're operating, with a little bit more flexibility. We are taking on a little bit more risk with some of our evacuations. And there's a couple of other points that I could touch on and we're not the least expensive option out there for our travelers, but we do what we say we're going to do. And if it is something more serious, let's just say a traveler's in a car accident, absolutely get hospitalized at the nearest hospital. As soon as we get the fit to fly order, then we can transfer you to the airport for your flight back home.
Okay. Now, depending on the severity of an event, are the planes that are being flown, are they designed to accommodate someone with an illness or virus like COVID-19? This is, like you say, COVID-19, you're not going to come back to your home country on a commercial airlines. It's not going to happen.
That's right.
But
It's not allowed. Yeah.
Yeah. And is the plane that is going to be used and the crew that's going to be servicing the plane on the plane, are they fully outfitted with the protection they need while this transport is taking place? And is the plane able to accommodate basic emergencies while the flight is in the air?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So when it comes to a pandemic or an infectious disease, let's just say COVID-19, yeah, then that evacuation will require a private air ambulance. Okay. There's no other way around it. So we would, again, our logistics team would be coordinating the nearest air ambulance, whatever's available in the area, whether it's Africa or Europe. And again, we would be talking with our member. We would pick them up most likely in an ambulance, because we don't want somebody with COVID-19 to be getting into a cab, and then to transfer them to the airport for that private air ambulance. Each of our private air ambulances is going to be under the direction of a flight medic. This flight medic is either going to be a doctor themselves, or they're going to be reporting to our medical evacuation team, which includes our medical director. Okay. And we're going to be taking vitals, making sure that, that our member is is safe and comfortable. So those private air ambulances, like the one you see behind me, are converted jet planes. Okay.
Right.
So we use a variety of different, the Learjet series, Hawkers, Falcons. These are converted private jet planes, and they're almost like flying ICUs because they're really configured to be able to handle some of the worst medical conditions to stabilize a member until we can get them back to their home hospital for treatment. Now, if it is something to add to that with a COVID-19 evacuation, now, if we're approaching the member's home airport, if our flight medic determines that it's not a severe case of COVID, they may not need to go to the hospital. What they might require is that we'll have the appropriate ground transportation, again, most likely an ambulance, to take them to their home residence for recovery and to do that, their safety protocols, including the quarantine.
Okay. This service, well, first of all, it sounds amazing. It also, frankly, it sounds expensive. I suppose if I'm going to go and take a month-long safari in Africa, heaven knows I want to be able to do that, or
So
do
do
some
I.
light hiking down in the Patagonia region. I suppose I can afford to go there. I can most likely afford a service like Covac Global. Is this within reach of folks that like to travel like that? Is this, what, I don't, you don't have to go on to the how expensive it is. And you've already said we're not the cheapest compared to other travel assistance companies, but it would, I guess, would this be considered a normal expense if I'm going to plan that level of a trip? The addition of adding Kovac Global to my personal comfort and feeling that just in case I have a company like this has my back, am I going to be able to afford this, or are there other ways to add this type of service to my itinerary or to my so-called travel insurance plan?
Sure. And for some of your listeners who have maybe been jammed up while they're traveling, may have an appreciation for this, that again, every evacuation is a little bit different. And there
Mhm,
are some excellent travel assistant companies out there.
mhm.
But there's some things that are unseen. If you do get hospitalized in a foreign country, there's a couple questions you might want to add. Is your own health coverage going to be covered at a stay like that? I mean, sometimes you have no choice. You have, if you get injured, you might need that immediate assistance. What we are doing is providing an alternative. If if we can get you some pain medication, some remediation first, we can do that. We don't want anybody to have to be hospitalized in a foreign country. Trips from the US to the Caribbean, or I should say from the Caribbean back to the US, fairly close. We can do a very good job of getting our members back quickly and to avoid having to be hospitalized in a foreign country. So everybody has to kind of assess their own what kind of risk that they're willing to take on. But
Mhm.
if you're traveling to Africa where you're going into some pretty remote areas, you might want to look at the best alternatives for you to get out. Yes, we're not the least expensive, but we we will get you back. We will get you back home. We'll get you back as quickly and safely as we can. And again, our main mission is to keep you from having to be hospitalized in a foreign country if it can be avoided.
Uh, Now, just to perhaps maybe it's a little repetitious, but what are the big differences that Kovac Global is going to be providing versus adding an emergency travel assistance to my overall investment for my travel? What are those three or four that are real big and important differentiators?
Okay, great question. Now, I do realize that this is insurance, and a lot of people don't necessarily like to think about it, but it is important to think about it. And again, we're not insurance; we are a membership program, so that's how we're
Right.
able to have more flexibility. That's how we're able to offer our memberships to all nationalities, all over.
Mhm.
We work with members all over the world
Right.
for their evacuations. But a few things that where we are different and we do have some advantages in the marketplace is what I was just discussing hospitalization requirements. Okay.
Right.
So if it is determined that it's more advantageous to take our member and get them to the airport for that next commercial flight, we can do that. And it's all covered as part of that membership. The member does not have to pick up the phone to try to coordinate things with the airlines or with the hospital. We are going to be taking care of all of that for our member. Another big differentiator is the age. Our age requirement is 18 to 85 years old. Okay. So some others in the marketplace go up to 65 years old. And if you're over 65, they might require medical screening. They want to see the health report. They want to see if there's any pre-existing health conditions. And this might result in a higher rate for that membership, or they might just be denied outright. We don't have we don't have those restrictions. So 18 to 85, we do not require any pre-screening of your pre-existing health conditions.
Right.
And we're
Okay.
also open to all nationalities. There's some companies have restrictions on which countries they will allow for memberships. And again, we're able to do this because we're ubiquitous. We have our strategic partners that are all certified with our company all over the world. So we're not only doing our evacuations back to the US, but we're doing it back to whatever the country of origin is, whether it's the UK, Italy, Brazil, South Africa. We do these all over the world.
Okay. You speak about memberships. So I'm envisioning individuals and families, maybe the frequent travelers, able to afford those destinations wherever they're at. Are your other members that Covac Global is serving? What other types of of members?
Um, you mean, you mean as far as other than the medical? Uh,
No, I guess so. You're offering memberships, okay?
yes,
So if I go to what Africa, like our friend Pam Biller, who owns a travel agency, and she organizes trips to Africa to go on
right,
photo safaris. Okay,
right.
so either an individual knows about Kovac Global, or when Pam is marketing her services on the next trip that she has planned for her customers, one of the services she's going to offer is this membership that Kovac Global has. So
Oh,
my
I understand.
question,
Yeah.
yeah. So who are the others that are going to take advantage of this kind of a membership?
Okay, I understand, Howard. So we really have three funnels that we work with. So your example with the tour operator or the travel agent. So that's part of our leisure travel. So we work with all sorts of different travel agents all over the world, travel agencies. And when they partner with us, we do offer them a 20% commission on our services
Mhm.
when when they partner with us and make recommendations to their clients where it's the best solution. We're also another funnel is to go to our website. We're kind of like an e-commerce site where the website was designed to be easy to understand and easy to use.
Mhm.
So the general public can come right in and the pricing is the same whether you go direct and sign yourself up or if you go through your travel agent, same cost. And then the third funnel is our corporate accounts. So we do have a number of different companies that use us as part of their duty of care services. And for those type of accounts, we handle that offline. We we depending on what the company needs. If it's going to be 100 executives that are going to a retreat in Costa Rica, or if it's going to be they might have, let's just say 500 executives that travel throughout the year and they're looking for annual travel coverage, we would handle that separately, and we'd work out the appropriate the appropriate account or deal with them. Also working with our underwriting partners and our with one of our insurance underwriters.
Good. I know the word, for example, a tour operator or a membership site never wants to hear is refund. How do, and I'm curious because I do have a recurring service that I use. It's paid through my PayPal account, and today I canceled it. It's like I don't need this anymore. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
and so I would imagine the word refund kind of comes up in conversations that you have either with the individual or future strategic partners of the like. Uh, How does the word refund, how does that play out in the world of Covac Global and the services you provide?
Okay, well, that's a great question. So we offer two types of single trip coverage, either 15 days of coverage or up to 30 days of coverage. So you choose which length of coverage you might need. So if it's a 10-day trip, you would need to sign up for that 15 days. That's the minimum amount of coverage. Now
Mhm.
let's just say that you're signed up, that you're going on your African safari, Howard, and let's just say it starts October 1st through the 14th, right? But then you're not feeling well. Something happens that you've got to recover from your illness before you can travel. So you need to go down the list of things that you need to put on hold. Hopefully you got the trip insurance that they can just hold it for you or refund it. And it's the same way that we would work. When you get to us, all you need to do is just reach out to Covac Global. Just send us an email just saying, hey, I need to hold off on my trip right now. Please cancel my current registration. And then our team would cancel your or deactivate the membership that you have in place. And then you will have up to 12 months to reschedule your trip. And again,
Okay.
since we're not insurance, the beautiful part about that is if you change your plans, let's just say when you're feeling better 3 months down the road or 6 months down the road, you can, and you decide, you know what, maybe Africa's a little too far for me. I'm going to switch it to Mexico. Mexico is a little closer to home. I'll feel better about it. So same thing. You just re-register with us. Just send us a note saying, please re-register me. I'm going to be in Acapulco for these 2 weeks. And then we will reactivate the membership for from your travel period. And then you'll have your membership in full force.
Very good. Now, this membership for those 15 days, if I do decide I'm going to spend some time in Acapulco as opposed to going to a safari in South Africa, same membership fee, or is there is there a difference because of the logistics that are involved? You're halfway across the world.
Right. So our rates are static. So
Okay.
and again, this is all part of of Ross's design. He wanted to make it easy to understand and easy to use. Same
Right.
rate. So our medical coverage for 15 days, it starts at $275. So that rate doesn't change. All right. So it's the same 275 to cover you for your trip to South Africa, or if that has to change to Mexico, it's the same, it'll be the same rate.
Okay. Okay. What has been the media's reaction to the service that Covac Global has introduced into the marketplace?
It's been very positive. And the reason for that, so we do have a number of great press coverage. And again, you find that on our website. You go to the about us and then the drop down to our press, because we were new in the market. Nobody was doing what we were doing when it came to COVID. In
Mhm.
fact, a lot of the other travel assistance providers in the marketplace had exclusions for COVID. It wasn't, they weren't sure how to handle it. But we kind of led the charge into that space and knew exactly how to handle those evacuations. So the press really wrote some great articles about how we were doing these evacuations, how we understood the process, how we were taking advantage. I mean, if there's one thing that we recognized from the pandemic, and you and I have talked about this, Howard, is that it forced a lot of us to look at new technology. So we were using some new technology that just wasn't being utilized before in regards to logistics and even the PCR testing. I mean, who would have thought that we'd be able to diagnose this infection by with these PCR tests and have the results back in 15 20 minutes?
Okay.
So yeah, to answer, long way around to answer your question, but that's yeah. So the press has looked on us very favorably.
Fantastic. Now, where are you going to market and promote the work that Kovac Global has in the marketplace? What are types of events and shows that you are all attending?
Well, we do. Yeah, we're doing more with trade shows. So a lot has to do with business travel. So any of the major trade shows, we were just at the GBTA trade show in San Diego back in September. So any major business travel trade shows, we're going to be part of. Also, any major leisure travel trade shows. We'd also like, well, we can't hit them all, but we are going to have a presence at several of them. I know that we're planning to travel for Signature, which is going to be in Las Vegas. There's one in Ensemble, the Ensemble Travel Group that's going to be in Miami. I know that we're planning to travel there and have a presence for those. But really, anytime that there's going to be a large gathering, we can help the leisure traveler as well as the business traveler.
Okay. And some of your partners, I would imagine they would include not only tour operators like Pam Biller, who we mentioned a few minutes ago, but the
Mhm.
hotels, the airlines, the resorts.
Right. We do have a presence with some destination properties as part of maybe some of their safety protocols if needed. But yeah, we're trying to get our name out there as much as we can. We're still a relatively new company. We certainly have learned a lot over the last couple of years. But yeah, we're going to continue to promote our company. I know that as we've talked about also, Howard, that this is something that I believe in. I enjoy helping others out with their with their with their travel strategy. We're not suggesting that we're going to be a solution for everyone, but for certain travelers, for certain business travelers, we certainly are an excellent solution.
Okay. Before we head out, Bernie, a couple of items. One is share a little bit about you. And I mentioned during the introduction, you're leading excursions or were throughout the city of Chicago to the downtown area. Maybe there's a very flexible rate for walking around the city and travel, and Covac Global. Their service is going to be to bring the black glove Uber car to you. But 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 are you still taking visitors to the city out on tours?
I do. I do. I work with a lot of tour operators or DMCs,
Okay.
DMOs that kind of bring in groups to Chicago. Lately, I've been working with a lot of the Great Lakes cruises. That
Okay.
some of them start in Chicago or Milwaukee, end in Toronto, or vice versa. That they'll start in Toronto and then they'll end in Chicago. So I've been leading tours, working with a number of tour operators to kind of doing a general highlights tour, Howard, just to show them the main sites of Chicago so that they don't miss out. Needham Park is great to see. The Daily Center. Just take them and tell the stories of how great Chicago is. Recommendations on where to hear music, where to go to eat. Lately, I've been leading groups into the Art Institute of Chicago just to do again a highlights tour. They'll have me for an hour, hour and a half. I point out the highlights and then leave them to discover the museum on their own. But I think that one of the whenever when I've gone to a museum in the past, you want to hit the right things, but what's of interest to you. But if you don't know where to find it, there's depending on when you're with the family, you better know where to go first, and then you gravitate towards those things that you want to see more of. So yeah, I did a variety of different tours, and I do that part time on the weekends.
When you have a spare moment, because I'm sure Covac Global is keeping you busy. Now, before we head out, one of the moments within our podcast is what we call the aha moment. And this is where we ask our guests to kind of look back into their career or perhaps the things you're doing most recently, this work with Covac Global, to know, my God, the work that I'm doing is having an impact. What's an example for that you would like to share with our audience about your aha moment and your trajectory, your career that you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I think that in general, when I've been part of these evacuations, especially this past festive period from mid-December to early January, okay, where we were doing quite a few different evacuations. And I was proud of the fact that, getting the feedback from a lot of the agents that, just getting back to me and just saying, hey, the Smith family really appreciated having their memberships in place. We were able to get them back safely. So I think for me, it's just knowing that I'm doing a good service, being able to present and train these agents and talk with clients about what Covac Global can do and what we can't do, but also to hear when we really come through for an individual or a family to get them back home safely. So just knowing that we're providing a quality service for our members.
Fantastic. Now, if our listeners would like to learn more about Covac Global and the services that they provide, where are the best places for them to go?
I'd suggest visiting our website, covacglobal.com. Visit the website. If you'd like to receive more information, all you need to do is just fill out the contact us information, and there'll be a little message there. If you want to talk with me, you could just say, please let Bernie know that I'd like to talk to him personally. And I'd be happy to reach out, and we'll set up a time to talk, and I'll be happy to go into more detail about our services.
Fantastic. Now, I know Covac Global also has a presence on the social sites like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn,
That's
and
right.
we'll provide backlinks to that as well as the website. Bernie, it's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast and just to learn more about what you're doing these days and this the service that in the company you are representing. It's very interesting. Heaven knows, I hope I will never need it. I imagine that goes without saying, but it sounds like if I am going someplace exotic, peace of mind is a powerful thing. And to know that there's somebody that's got my back, and it sounds like the service that Covac Global provides does just that. And again, it's also interesting, given COVID-19, that the the service that you're providing was there as a solution to a problem that perhaps nobody thought we needed to solve or didn't know how to. And you guys with Ross Thompson came up with a solution. So I appreciate hearing that story, and look forward to hearing more about the work that you're doing and the work that Covac Global is doing. So thank you for spending the time with us today.
Well, thank you, Howard. I appreciate you having me on your podcast. I love it. I do listen to it. And we designed our program to be easy to understand and easy to use, and be happy to provide more details as needed. So thank you, Howard.
Fantastic.
I appreciate you having me on.
Fantastic. My pleasure. And listen, stay in the line. We're going to do a quick close, and then you and I can have a final chat. Okay.
Okay. Sounds great. Thanks, Howard.
Very, very good. All right, folks. We have just been chatting with Bernie Verwiel, Senior Manager, Partner Relations at Covac Global. And what I love about this story, and not only to kind of catch up with Bernie, see what he's been up to. Again, if you go to Chicago, we're going to get a backlink from Bernie of how you can find out where he's doing his tours and how you can sign up to go out with him. But also you can have a path to learn more about the services that Covac Global provides via their website. He's a great resource. He's passionate about the work that he does, and just loves hearing him chat about Covac Global and how they rose to the challenge, especially during the dark days of COVID, and really the importance of having that peace of mind, knowing that if I am going to be going on some exotic travel somewhere, whether it's Acapulco or a safari in Africa, God forbid something happens, there's a company like Covac Global that's there to help bring me home in an expeditious way as possible. Do go out and visit their website, covacglobal.com. We're going to provide the backlinks, of course, and also we'll provide the backlinks to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. As If you enjoyed this podcast, do let us know. You can like it, you can share it. You can find us on the outdooradventureseries.com. We are also on our Facebook and LinkedIn pages for the Outdoor Adventure Series. And if you enjoy podcasts, just do a search on Outdoor Adventure Series and wherever you get your podcasts from, and you'll be able to find not only this episode, but our library of episodes under the banner of Outdoor Adventure Series. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day. Take care of yourselves, your family, and really just take care of the community as well. Okay. And if you go out and travel, be safe and know that organizations like Covac Global are there to support you. All right, folks, take care now.